So this tutorial part we are dealing with PHP and MySQL database. So MySQL works very well in combination with various programming language. That's it. After that, MySQL and maybe with your web form, you need a script in order for you to connect your web form with your MySQL. So there are various types of scripts. We have the Perl, we have the C, C++, we have the Java and PHP. They are all scripts in which you can use in connecting your forms to your database. So but right now, for the case of Ewebtutor, we are going to talk about the PHP as a script. That is as a way whereby you can connect your forms to your database. So this tutorial focuses heavily on using MySQL in a PHP environment. So, but one thing I want you to realize is, normally we talk about the web PHP admin and the mobile PHP admin, the mobile version of PHP admin, and we talk about when we are dealing with both the web and the mobile PHP admin. There's always a time that it asks us to enter the username and password of our cPanel for us to be able to access our the web, for us to be able to access our PHP admin. But as you want to access the web PHP admin, all you need to do is you have to look for the cPanel URL in your login environment in Ewebtutor. So when you click on the login URL, then it will ask for your username and password of the cPanel. Then you are going to enter your username and password of the cPanel. But right now, this we've already explained to you how to log into this, whether the mobile version or the web version of PHP admin, how to log into the environment. We've already explained to you. So, but this tutorial now, we are trying to talk about the PHP and MySQL, but they require a connection. Even though this time around we really want to create a form that users are going to create a form that our web visitor they are going to use in connecting to the database. We want to create a registration form that they will enter their data and is going to be posted in the database. Even though we want to do that, we still need to connect that form. We need to connect it to the database. So this is how we do the connections. I have told you that whenever we want to connect something, we want to connect a form to the database. I have told you that you need an intermediary, you need a PHP. So we are going to write a PHP program that is going to connect our forms to the database. And if it has been connected, it's going to tell us that connection successful. But if there is no connection between our form and the database, it's going to tell us that the connection is not successful. Note one thing, I've told you that before you can post the data inside a form to a database, you need a script. So the script has to be created for you to post the data in your form to the database. So that script is what we refer to as PHP. So right now we are going to, before we post the data in the form, before we post it to the database, we need to know whether our database is connected to our form. That is, whether our form is connected to our database. If there is connection, then that is when we can post. But if there is no connection, then if there is no connection between our form and our database, then we can't post our data inside it. So right now we are first going to teach you how to connect your form to your database, how to know maybe there is a connection between your form to your database. And how are you going to arrive at that? We are going to arrive at that using PHP. So the syntax of connecting in PHP is MySQL_connect or MySQL_connects. So we are going to use this syntax to connect, to check whether there is a connection between your forms and your data as in your database. So this is just the syntax, but this is not the real code, this is not the actual code. This is just the syntax in which you can use to connect. So right now, if we pass this parameter, we try to connect. If there is no connection, we have a error message. Else, if there is no, I believe you know about if and else statement in PHP. So this is how we make use of it. So, but right now, let's go to the MySQL connection. PHP provides MySQL_connect function to open the database connection. So when you have a form, let's say like this form now, the registration form in Ewebtutor, the owner of Ewebtutor, the web administrator, has to know whether there is a connection between this form and the database before they will ask you to register on this site. If they did not open the connection between this form and the database, if they didn't open a connection between it, then if a user fill this form, even if a user fill it 1 million times, the data is not going to be stored inside the database. The reason is because the form and database is not connected yet. So let's teach you how to connect this form now, to connect it to this form page now, to connect it to the database. So that is what we are going to do right now. So let's make use of this code. So we'll try out this following example to connect with my SQL server. So let's try this example. Let's try this code. So right now, let's open our FTP. Let's open our FTP in Ewebtutor so that we'll be able to create a form in our site so that our web user will be able to know. So localhost, I told you that this one will be localhost, my site, and the password, my username and the password. I can get that from the email they sent to me during the course of registration. No, I will use the cPanel email to access my FTP also. Even to access my mobile PHP admin, I will still use it. So it has connected. I'll go to my www directory. So let me create a new file. Since the script is PHP, since the script we are using is PHP, then we are going to save our page with PHP. So let's say from one.php. Let's say from one.php. So let's paste the code inside it. So this is the code now. The code we have here. The code we have here is this. So to know whether our connection, so you can see starting from this code, I believe I've already teach you HTML, HTML, the head tag, open tag, the HTML open tag. I've already teach you what the title means. Title is what is inside this place. I've already teach you when we are dealing with HTML. So this is our script, our PHP script that we are going to use to connect our forms to know whether this form that we want to create on this page maybe it's connected to the database. So this is what we are going to know. So the first thing that we start with what? The database, the DB hosts. We call it localhost. The DB host. So normally when you want to connect to your server, when you want to connect to your PHP admin using the mobile version, it's asking you for your server. It's the same thing as your hosts. Then the server is what? The local. We use localhost here. So we are going to use localhost. So it's correct. So whenever you want to connect a form to the server using PHP, it has to ask for the host. Then you make use of what? Localhost. It will be inside this colon, inside this sign. It's going to be inside this sign, localhost. Then right now, this is where it's asking for your database username. It's asking for your database username here. So the username of your database. So after that, whenever you want to log into your mobile PHP admin or even the web PHP admin, it's going to ask you for username and password. And the username and password that you are going to use is what? Is the cPanel username and password. So that means you are going to put in here the username of your cPanel. You are going to put in here the username of your what? The password of your cPanel. No, this place is your database host. Is always localhost. Localhost is always here. So even though you want to log into your PHP admin, the mobile version, you are still going to, under the server, you are going to use localhost. It's the same thing that you are going to have here. So the database username, the name of your, the username of your database, and that is the same thing as the cPanel username. And here is the password of your database, and the same thing as the password cPanel, the cPanel password. So this is what you use to connect. So you now say if there is connection. If there is connection, all these things you are still going to understand it. But later, just all these things you just need to correct in this page is your database host, localhost, and the database username and your password. It's only these are the 3 fields you need to correct in this form. These are the 3 fields you just need to change. Once all these things are equal, once they are correct, then once all these things are correct, automatically it's going to tell you that the connection is what? Is successful. That is the connection between this your form page and your database is going to tell you that the connection is what? Is successful. So whatever the field, whatever form that you now ask your users to fill around that time, their data will now be what? it will be connected to the what? To the database. That's just the meaning. But if it tells you that the connection is not successful, then even though you have a form inside that, even though user filled the form 1 million times, their data is not going to be posted to the database. That's just the meaning. So we now say, but if there is no connection, I've told you that this sign in PHP means not. If there is not connection, if that is, if this thing does not connect, what do we have to do? We say is what? It should die. One thing that you propose to tell you about PHP is, I forgot to tell you about die. Normally I explain echo. I explain echo when we are talking about PHP, and I explain print. I tell you that echo and print are the same thing. So die also is equals to echo and print. It's just another way for you. It's just when you want to print something. Whenever you want to print a particular thing out, let's say a string, you say print or you say echo, then you put the string inside this place. Then you end it with semicolon. But whenever you want to print out an error, you don't use print, you use what? You use die. So that is the reason you use die. That's the reason we use die here. So die, it works exactly like print or echo. It works exactly like print or echo. So but whenever you want to print out an error, you make use of die. That's why we say that. So we say if this thing does not connect, then it should say that what? Could not connect. So that's why we ask it to not connect. But now, since my username is market and my password is this, can you see that the username and password is not the same thing? My normal username and password is not the same username and password that is here. So since my information is not correct inside this script, what will happen? Then I'm going to see something like could not connect. So this is what we are expecting. So let's run this and see what to give us. So whenever a user log into my site and look at my form 1.php, look at my form, run my form, they will see something like could not connect. Can you see? Could not connect. Because of what? It said could not connect. It now said what? Access denied for user guess. It said there is no user bearing what? Bearing guess. I said my username is what? In the form I said my username is what? I said my username is guess. So right now it's telling me that there is no username on my server. And what's the name of the database host? The name of the server is localhost. I've told you that the database host is always local. So it's trying to tell me that there is no user bearing guess in the database. There is no user bearing guess. So let me change it to the real information. My information here is market and my password is 2014. So let me save this in. So right now what are you expecting? We are expecting connection successful. Let's see, connected successful. So since the information that I have inside this script now is the same thing as my normal information, then I have what? Connection. But note, your own username and password may be different. It's going to be different. So just know the only thing you are going to change in this script is this password and what? And username and your host name. So look at in the previous notes that I was talking about, I was telling you about the word, the MySQL_connect. So what did the connection? Is this MySQL_connection connect? And that's what I was trying to explain here for you. So in this code, the normal code that we run, this is the code that we run. This is where we use that MySQL_connect. So this is the code that does the stuff. Normally we create a variable, we call it dbHost. We create another variable, we call it dbuser. We create another variable, what? dbpass. So MySQL_connect is always a function. It's a function to connect to what? Your MySQL database. Is a function to connect your MySQL database, and that function I've taught you when we are dealing with function. This function has 3 parameters. The first parameter must be you must input your host there, and we have said that our host is equals to what? Localhost. That's why we said dbhost. We said it's equals to, we create a variable, we name it dbhost, and we put localhost inside it. That's it. The second parameter must be the username. That is the guess. And the third parameter must be the password. That is this. So if I don't want to hold all these things inside a variable, if I don't want to use the variables to hold all these things, all I will just do is I'm going to delete this here now. Since there is no variable bearing dbhost again, then my host will be here. So I will just represent it localhost. I'll put it inside this inside the quotes. Then my username will be here. Where's my username? Market. And my password is going to be here. So even though I didn't use variables to represent them, but as I use variable now, instead of this localhost now, the variable I use, I will just put dollar something there. I will not place that dollar something inside a quote, because variable does not need to be inside the quotes. But it's only whenever you want to write a string in PHP, that's when you place inside the quote. So if I save this now, it's still going to run. I will still see connection successful, because everything that is inside is I place the parameters the way it ought to be. I will still see refresh. Can you see? I will still see connected successful. The reason is because I place the parameter the way it ought to be. The first parameter when you use MySQL connect, MySQL connect is just a function to connect. So when you use MySQL connect, the first parameter must be your host. The second parameter must be your username, and the third parameter must be your password. So if you save the first parameter with, let's say we create a variable, you name it host, then you put localhost inside this place. Localhost. Then when you want to represent it here, you don't need to put that $host inside a quote. You just represent it directly, $host. And that is what we did in this example. We create a variable, we name it DB host, and I've told you that the first parameter in under MySQL connect is always your host. So your host is always localhost. So whatever variable you use, you put it inside this place. So let's copy back this example. So I just explained to you that in case you don't want to use a variables to hold it, you can do it directly. So each parameter you just put inside the quotes, then you put what they represent. So this one represents the host name, which is something as a localhost. Mind the spelling, and this one is username of your server, your cPanel, and this is the password of your server. So but let's do it in normal way. Let's do it in normal way. So localhost, market, and password. This is normal way. It's still the same thing. It's still the same thing as what we did previously. So just know this is the function that we use to connect, and it's a function MySQL connect, which is the function we use to connect to the database. It's already preset function. It always asks a 3 parameter, the host, the username, and the password, and that is why they put it there. So they now represent all these variables. They represent them as this. They give it a value of this, and it's the same thing as putting all these things inside a quotes without using a variable, like the previous example we did. So we now said all whatever we use in connecting here, we said is equals to what? We said is equals to $con. We now say if it does not con. Let's say if it does not con, we say everything that is here now, we say we save it as what? $con. So whatever you enter here, we save it as $con. So if it does not connect, we say that it should what? It should die an error, it should print out an error. I've told you that die, they use it for print. You should say we should print an error, could not connect. Else, if it connects, we ask it to say what? Echo successfully. So we can also use if else. I believe I've taught you if else when we are dealing with PHP. We can as well use if else. It will still give us the same thing. So if this thing does not connect, it's going to say this as an output. Else, if it connects, it's going to say this out at an output, or you may not even put it in anything. So you can use either of the two. You can use if else, or you can just leave it like this. So but note, what we ask it to die, the error we ask it to die is what? Could not connect, and that is what we should have, could not connect. But you will see that there are other things that is in front. If it does not connect, let me change this to these markets so that it will not connect, so that you will see what I'm talking about. Normally there's nothing using like markets, so that's why it's not connect. So now what I asked you to post is what? Could not connect ordinarily. But how come is it adding this thing for us? So the reason it's adding that is because we use MySQL_error. So in PHP there's another functions a function that they have already declared in PHP. Whenever you want to post out an error, just use my SQL underscore error. It does not have parameter. Just use my SQL underscore error. So whatever that error is going to print it out for you. You are going to see what the error is Normally if you say could not connect, we can only see this could not connect, but we want the system to explain the nature of that error. Is it that is our password that is not correct, or is it that our username that is not correct? You can see that access denied for user. But as it is our password that is not correct, it's tell you that access denied for password. But how the system knows that? It's because the reason is because markets, there's nothing like markets, it's my username that is not correct. That is why it told me that what access denied for user. But as soon as my password that is not correct, it told me that access denied for password. So we want to know the nature of that error. Is it the username? Is it the password? Is it the host that is not correct? That's the reason we use what MySQL underscore error. Is also a preset function. You don't need to declare it again. It's already prepared. This bracket that you are seeing here, this is the closing tag. So this is where you use what MySQL underscore error. So that is the reason it's given. Normally this is the normal text we have could not connect, but the reason it's added other things into it is because of we use MySQL underscore. So if we delete this thing and we do not use anything now, all we just have is what could not connect. So make sure that whenever you want to post an error and you want people to see the nature of an error, the nature of that error, make sure you are putting MySQL underscore error. So it's going to be telling the system will just be telling the user the nature of that particular error on that page. So this is just how to connect to your server. So if you want to know maybe your server, your form, whatever form, normally in this page now we've not created a form, but as we have a form present on this page, if we want to know maybe that form is going to work, is connected to the server or is not connected to the if you want to know maybe the form is connected to the MySQL database or is not connected to the MySQL database, so this is the code we are going to use in knowing that. So we are going to write this code and we will enter all these parameters, the local host, the market, our username, cPanel, and our password, and we will run it. So if you tell us connected successfully, then we know that our connection is successful. Just know one thing: every script we use, what I mean by script is all this PHP code. Everything we use to connect to this, like this now, connection successfully now. If you expect it of whatever server, even if it's your own server, this is my server now. If it's your own server, this PHP code will still work. So just copy this thing and save it. So whenever, even in future, maybe you have a work, you collected a contract, maybe they ask you to build a site, and they ask you to create a login form, a registration form, and you create the registration form, and you want to know maybe that your form are connected to that database that you are using. That form is connected. You want to know if the form is connected to the database you are using. You will still use this syntax. You will still run on this time. So this time around, we just change the parameters that are here. You change the database, the username of database of that particular company, and you change your password. So when you change this thing and you run it, if you tell you connection successful, then you know that your form is connected to your database. So what I'm trying to say is that just keep this script, keep it safe. This is what I mean by script, everything here. Just keep it safe. So whenever you want to know whether a form will connect to database or not, just copy this script, paste it inside the place you want to place the form in the site, change the parameter, change the username, the password, and connect it. See, maybe it will tell you connection successfully or not. If it's successful, it will tell you connection. If it's not successful, it will tell you. So this is just the end of this, just to tell you that how to connect PHP MySQL introduction connection, how to connect them, how to connect your form to your database. So this is just the connection. So thanks so much.